All right, this is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast for 2024. We'll be talking to Kevan Schell. Kevan Schell has a great blues funk, rock roll band called Tobacco Brown, and I tell you, man, they are really good. And Kevin's a wicked guitar player, good songwriter, great singer, and I think one of the best bands in town myself, and that's my judgment. And I saw them live at the Brit. Was it the Brit? I can't remember where I saw them at. Wherever I saw them was just in my neighborhood, and they were great. Seen them twice. He's got some veteran, great musicians playing with him. Stephen Drake from The Odds. You can tell that there's just talent just dripping off this band and Kevan. So I'll be talking to Kevan in a few minutes. This is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast for 2024. Hang in there. We'll be talking to Kevan really quick.
Hello.
Hello, Kevan. How you doing?
I'm good, Joey. How are you?
Pretty good. So I got this. Everything's rolling here. I'm going to get going right away on this.
Okay, sweet. Sounds good.
So, all right, Kevan. I've come and watched your band a couple of times down at Brighton there, and I've turned into a fan, man. I really like your band. I really really like your band. I like the music direction. Your guitar playing is incredible.
Thank you so much.
I was telling that to my guitar players in my band, and said, "Guy, he's got to come down and catch this guy. He's really good. The band's great. He's good. The songs are good." So how long have you been playing yourself for?
So basically, how old am I? I'm 38 now, and I started playing guitar when I was about 14. And I guess I've been playing with these guys for, I don't want to say 10 years. I think it's closer to, with Steven, probably about 6 or 7 years. With Dave, for sure, about 10 years now. I've been playing with Dave, if not maybe more. So yeah, we met years ago at Falcon Eddie's.
Right.
On Commercial Drive. It's no longer with us, but we were there and playing with other bands, and we just met each other, and we just sort of slowly formed this band. And we've had Rick Hopkins got added on keys a couple of years back, and he's just a dream.
He's great. Nice guy too. Very nice guy.
Oh, he's the nicest dude. Yeah. It's kind of just a dream come true, to be honest. I'm really thank you so much for saying that. Though.
Oh no, you guys are.
People are digging it.
Yeah, you guys are like a hidden little treasure going on. I'm serious. It is because like you listen to you guys, and the style of music I really dig too. Right? I mean, you.
Thank you.
What are some of your influences?
Well, I gotta say I started playing guitar like a lot of people because of Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
And then a little bit of like Santana as well as Metallica.
Wow.
So yeah, those were my big three. Those I was like, oh man. And then Keith Richards after that, learning some of his really simple but effective solos.
Yes.
His 2-note solos, like Sympathy for the Devil is the first. That's the first guitar solo I ever learned. Cool. And that changed my life. I was just like, oh my god, you can actually do a lot with not much. So
yeah. All that space in between really creates that vibe, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then just to follow as well, obviously then Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, you know what I mean? So I definitely started getting into psychedelic, The Doors as well, were a big influence on me when I was a kid. So
I love those bands too. I grew up with those bands. I went to when I was a little kid, I went and saw those bands, right, and seen The Doors a lot, and Pink Floyd, so all that stuff.
Amazing.
Very good influences, that's for sure. And so, how do you get to your songwriting from that? How does that? How do you approach that?
Well, I mean, it's I have different styles for different. So for instance, it's like sometimes I'll play with a trio. Right. And I'll be on electric. Other times I'll be on acoustic by myself.
Oh, right on.
So there's so many. I only play guitar. That's my main instrument. I don't play anything else. But I like to kind of approach it as okay, well, I'll do as much as I can on that instrument. So it's I've got songs that kind of only sound good on acoustic.
Right.
And I'll do those. But with the band, what I try to do is we do these sort of they're kind of mashups if you will.
Yeah.
Where we'll take the chords of another song and we'll put lyrics over top. We didn't come up with it. It's nothing new, right? It's been happening for a long time, but
No.
we kind of like to do the psychedelic angle.
Yeah,
And,
I like that too.
Yeah.
You got it creates quite a vibe in the room when you're playing, right? I can hear it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can hear it. I mean, some of it too reminds me. You know who you remind me of too. Like I hate pigeonholing people, but you do remind me a bit of like Gary Clark Jr. Like that.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
That
Thank you
kind
so
of
much.
that kind of approach, Kevin.
Right.
That's I get that. I get that when I watch you guys. You got that kind of approach where you don't lock yourself into like one sort of style of music, right? And
Yeah.
it's refreshing because in 1 minute you're listening
Thank
to
you.
something very more spacey, and the next minute a little bluesy, the next minute a little
Yeah.
funky, and I'm kind of going like that's really cool, like because you don't
Well, thank you.
that kind of that gives it a really a nice palette. You know what I mean? Like it opens it up in the evening. So I know you've recorded. You got a vinyl out. Am I right about that?
I do. I have a vinyl out. I recorded an album. It was supposed to just be like a little 45,
Right.
and then because my one song was like 1 minute too long, it kind of blew up into this like one-sided 12-inch. So, which
Wow.
is at least unique. Like I can't say I've heard
Yeah.
a lot of those. So, but it's called 4 Songs by Tobacco Brown, and it was recorded, engineered, produced, and everything by a friend of mine. His name is Marco Cortese.
Oh, right on.
And I had a bunch of my friends play on it as well. I'm really proud of it. It's only 4 songs, but I think it's pretty. You get bang for your buck. I'm selling for $20, like $5 a song, basically. But if I know you, I'll give you a little discount.
Right on.
It's been out for a year now, and that was just a dream of mine to put out a record. I always wanted to do that.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it was
that's amazing.
certainly,
Yeah. I mean,
maybe
it's-
not the smartest thing in modern times, but
No, vinyl.
I don't know.
I think it's a good thing because I think vinyl is like on the comeback trail, right? From what I've been
right?
talking
Yeah,
to, vinyl is like
that's what they
huge.
tell me. Yeah.
And then my bass player in my band, Harvey, he collects vinyl to this day. You
Does
know?
he?
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Okay. Put me in touch.
So yeah, I will. So it's just like vinyl. It's just I mean, I got tons of vinyl albums myself.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, were you one of those people that got rid of your albums? Or did you
No.
keep all your albums?
You know what?
Like,
I got rid of my CD.
I know CD fucked everybody up, right?
No, I got rid of CDs after a while.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
I said goodbye. You know.
Joey.
You know.
I knew we were gonna get on. That's fucking awesome.
So what's up for you guys coming up? What are you guys doing now? What's for you, Kevin? What's happening with your band and gigs?
Well,
Because I know gigs
we
are
got-
gigs are tough around town right now. That's for sure for bands.
Oh, dude, I'm honestly like I've wanted. It's very easy to hate on the Vancouver nightlife. And
No
don't get me
shit,
wrong,
eh? Yeah.
I'm guilty of that too. But I will just say I'm so grateful that we have shows and that there's places that will let us play
Yeah.
and do our thing. And and it's like obviously I saw we met at the Brighton.
Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to the Brighton because it's like that's a real bar. It's a real place. They're doing a lot for people. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. I
Like,
think East Vancouver does a lot of that. I think like East Van, you got
Yeah.
the Brighton, you got the Princeton. You know.
yeah. Oh fuck yeah! Shout out to the Princeton. Absolutely.
Yeah, to Les. I mean, Les is one of those guys that he refuses to die, so he just keeps pushing the place. And we play there
Well,
quite a bit over the years, and
Sorry.
we play there too quite a bit at the Princeton.
nice.
And then the other places. I mean, I just talked to today to. Got to get to know the guy who is booking the Green Auto, right?
Oh okay.
Have you? And he's a very nice guy, and so
Cool.
he's putting on shows and everything, and so that's a gig you guys got to look at. You guys be really.
Okay, cool. Oh fuck yeah! Put us in touch.
I'll put you in touch with his contact number and everything afterwards. Yeah, because he's a nice guy, and he's got the PA is really good in there. And
Oh, cool.
The sound is really good, and it's got a nice stage, and he's really trying hard. I mean, he's got bands calling him left, right, and center out of his yin yang. But the thing is like he does his best to get as many different kinds of shows in there, right? So he's got all kinds of cool things. But yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
where else have you played in town? What else have you done?
We play all over, anywhere that will have us. But one of our favorite places as well to play is Mahoney's. We've had some pretty regular gigs with those guys. There's two locations: the Convention Center and
Yes.
Stamps Landing.
Yeah.
And Mahoney's is just, honestly, I know it gets thrown around a lot, but we do, honestly, it feels like home. Like they treat us like family. Like they're so kind to us.
That's good.
Again,
That's
we're
good.
so grateful because it's like they never asked for like a 3 to 4 piece band to show up. Like we brought a saxophone player the other week, our friend Lorik Rousseau. He was at the Brighton as well. Happy birthday, Lorik! And like they didn't ask for that. You know what I mean? As far as they're concerned, they're booking some person playing usually acoustic guitar or maybe a duo, and we kind of just roll up there and do our thing. But they seem to like it, and for the most part, the customers seem to like it. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's
like I said, I'm just grateful that we have these places and that live music is actually happening. And,
yeah.
So it smells funny, but it's not dead. So.
Are you what's your plans for? Do you consistently keep writing, or are you guys are you going to be recording soon again? What's your plans on that?
I'm going to be recording. I mean, the band and the recording they're going to hopefully meet this year. We have plans. Like Stephen Drake is our bass player. He's obviously a fantastic engineer, brilliant dude, like an absolute whiz.
He's very.
Him and Rick have a studio at Rick's place, and so we're going to be recording there as soon as we can. Hopefully, just got to make some plans to do that. But yeah, we've got enough material. Like I've got an album kind of waiting, so
good.
I'd like to make that happen. But I do also like to work. I like to work with random people too, if that makes sense. Like I like to just I like to work with different people and keep it fresh. So. And obviously I work with the same people, but I always try to give everybody a chance, if that makes sense. Like I love just like spicing it up, and so yeah.
That's a cool thing. That's a very cool thing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so you get different sounds that way too, right?
Yeah. So have you done stuff like festival? Have you gotten outside of the club scene and done festivals or anything like that?
I've done some festivals. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's some amazing festivals. They're just a little bit far away, and right now it's like I don't have like a tour bus, so it's kind of it's a little bit tricky to get the guys there. But for the right place, obviously exceptions can be made. We play something called Name It Yourself Fest as well, it's every year they choose the name, but you get to pick what name it is. So blah blah blah. But that's also Marco Cortese. He runs that festival. Cool. And that's been really fun in the past. So, and we are applying though. We're always trying to apply and get.
Get yourself out there.
That's an art in itself though as well. With promo is not always easy for.
Yeah.
So,
And in the songwriting, I'll go back to that for a sec. Like in the songwriting, do you when you're putting an album together, are you doing the music yourself and at first and then present the idea to the band, or do you just like formulate the whole thing? How does that work?
So here's the thing: we don't actually rehearse.
Right. I don't think you need to. You guys are pretty damn good.
Yeah. No. Thank you. Yeah. No. And don't get me wrong. Like we all practice, but
you can tell.
I don't like once a week or whatever. I don't like bring these guys into a room and tell them that I want this hit on the 5th or whatever, and I don't have like a leg kick choreograph or any of this shit, and I'm not shitting on bands that rehearse. I think it's really smart, and believe me, I'm usually the one that should be rehearsing more. And there's times where I have been like, ooh, I wish maybe we'd rehearse that. But I will just say that if you've hired guys, or in this case, I've met the right people for the job, and you trust them, then you don't need to. Yeah, you don't need to worry too much. You know what I mean? It's like I don't give them anything they can't handle. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
That's totally true.
Yeah, kind of jams, and we have songs that are like 2 chords, right? Yeah. So it's like it's freedom to improvise, and it's freedom to do what you feel in the moment. And don't get me wrong. I think being in a tight show.
No. But I think that's just a formula for being tight, anyways. Because myself, like we rehearse, but like we'll go rehearse and then we go play, and like we got a new drummer right over the last 6 months, and Scott, he's the opposite. He's really like he wants to know where we're going here or going there, and
Yeah.
I'm the type of person who will go like, okay, what rehearse, and then we get up on the stage, you go to play live, and he goes, what the fuck just happened? And I says, what do you mean? He says, well, like Paul just did like a 8 more bars of a solo, and then Patty played another 8 more bars of solo, and I said,
Man.
just watch me. I says, because and we said that the other day to her, to Scott. Patty looked at him, and she goes, listen, you know what? When Joe points at you and it goes like rolls his hand, that means like it's an extension. Just play. Like don't worry about. Yeah, but we just finished rehearsing it a certain way. I says, who cares?
And bless drummers as well. They've really got the hardest job.
Yeah, they do, right? Because they got to watch, right?
I think, I struggle. I'll say this now. I'm not calling you out, Dave Manson, our drummer, but here's another reason why it's hard to. We could rehearse all we want.
Yeah.
Dave plays drums with his eyes closed.
Right.
So I can give him as many hand signals, like I can, you know what I mean? Like I can, stomp my foot, whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Like, and I truly have, and again, like I love Dave, and it's not a slight. I have had to literally like kind of lean in and be like, Dave, because he gets into a trance, right?
Yeah.
But that
happens.
He's listening, and it's a beautiful thing. So
I don't want to ruin that. No, but I agree with you, not just for the sake of agreeing. Like all those bands that you talked about earlier in the conversation, like that I saw when I was a kid, like the Doors or Jimi Hendrix or the Cream or any of those people.
Oh yeah.
Like they Pink Floyd, like they never, we were talking about that the other day actually in a rehearsal, like what we just talked about, and I looked at the Scott, and we were talking, and I said, hey Scott, think of us like Led Zeppelin, and he goes, what do you mean? I says, I remember going to see Led Zeppelin once when I was a kid. I've seen them like 4 or 5 times, but when I saw them one time, I said I was standing in the crowd, and they're playing this song or that song, and I said, and I never forget, people around me turned around and said, like, that's nothing like the record, right? And I turned and I turned around, I looked at him, I says, if you want to listen to the record, go home and listen to the record, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I was having fun because they would improvise like through the whole show, right? And they just made sure that they ran the hook every now and then, and so people
exactly.
and the melody was close, and I mean that's entertaining, like when it's live, especially, right?
And they were always like that too, right? Like a lot of those bands. Especially the Doors. It's like they would get it together somewhat in the studio, or at least three of them would. Yeah. And they pulled Jim off the ceiling, but it was like they were. That's what was cool about them. Is like they were kind of a jam band in a way.
They
right?
were actually.
But you're
right
though. They bring it back. They bring it back to the hook every now and again.
And, they would do that. I once
wake up.
I think the last time I saw the Doors, they did. They came out. They had who they had with them. They had opening up. They had Elvin Bishop, and they had Albert King, and
oh wow.
Yeah, and them. And you know what? They did only one song. One song. They did when the music's over. They opened up. I don't know why. They opened up with the music's over, I think.
Oh wow.
And then they stopped. And then he decided to bring out Elvin Bishop and Albert King, and they jammed the rest of the whole show. The whole show was just one big jam. One big jam and one big blues jam. And it was...
they loved the blues, didn't they? Or Morrison did for sure, right?
Yeah, and so they just had
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I mean that's when I watch you guys play. I you get that feeling of it can go in different places, right? The music, and that's cool. That's really cool, right?
Well, I think when it I think it's a lot like improv, like comedy as well, right? When it's good, it's great, right? And when it's bad, oh God, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking anybody who is putting in at least once a week rehearsal with their band. That's smart. That's a really good thing to do. You're going to sound really good if you do that. And I guess to answer your question as well about like how, like so what'll happen basically. I've been playing with these guys for years now. So every couple of months, I'll throw a new song at them. I'll throw just a new riff at them, and I'll let it just kind of, you know what I mean? It'll percolate, and then I'll forget about it. And then if they like it, they'll usually remind me, and they'll be like, "Hey, what was that thing you played the other week?" And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that thing."
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we'll just sort of do it again, right? And I don't know. I mean, not everything sticks. Like I've introduced stuff to them that totally just doesn't land, and
Yeah.
we forget about it. And then
that happens.
But sometimes, it'll be just something, and we're like, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
again, and we do. I'm proud to say we do a nice 50-50. It's covers and interpretation mostly, but there are originals that we sneak in there that seem to go down well too, and I'm proud of that as well. Where people
Oh
don't know
well
the cover, right? Like
that tells me when you do original and everybody gets off it in a room, and you're done a cover or something, that measures up, right? That tells you your songwriting capability is it's strong because, and your portrayal of it, because you got your tune, you got that cover that's been proven, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, and thanks for saying that. And
yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
It's truly as well. Like that's the other thing. It's like, rehearsing. I mean, not saying we wouldn't, and not saying we shouldn't, but I will just say it's like, like going back to Dave. And again, I love Dave, and I'm not knocking it, but he doesn't know the names to any of the songs. and I love that about him.
I do too. That's great.
He knows all the notes. He knows how to play them.
Yeah.
Every single one. But if I say the title of it, he's just like, I got no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something kind of nice about that.
No, that's great. That there is. That's great because he's playing off feel, right? And he just
exactly.
And then that's very cool. I found when I was watching him play with you guys the other night. He just tons of feel. Like it was just lots of fun to watch how you guys went off, play off each other. And I talked to the sax player. I forget his name. Lorik. I talked to Lorik. He's such a nice guy.
He's incredible.
Yeah. He's a really good sax player, and I mean the whole band is. You guys are all really good. There's no two ways about it. I mean, I think you guys are super success. Should be. I'm hoping that it goes further because you guys are just. You're one. I'm not just saying that it blowing smoke up here, but I think you guys are probably one of the better bands I've seen in town. Like just musicianship.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah,
thank you
musicianship
so
wise, right? You guys are a really good band. You got good. You're really good at your singing and your playing. You're solid. I like the sounds you get. Like, you're the sound that you get with the pedals and everything, right? It's just. And let alone when you're just playing straight to it, just sounds really good. What is how did you come up with? And the other thing I was wondering, I like the name. Like, how did you come up with the name Tobacco Brown?
Oh, okay. So it's not the most exciting story, but I will tell you.
Yeah, please do.
I'll tell you the truth, which is that years and years ago, I was living in London, and a friend of mine. So I lived in a place called Croydon.
Okay.
I have to mention that. So it's in southeast London, and
Right on.
Croydon is not known for being the nicest part of London, but it is an exceptionally unique part of London, and I will just say there's some amazing characters there, and I love Croydon. Shout out to the Cronks. And basically, long story short, I lived near a place called Rock Bottom.
Okay.
And they had a wide range of guitars, especially acoustics. They had a crazy amount of used acoustics, and they had some cheap acoustics. So my friend Brett Alimo, love you, Brett. He asked me one day because again, I lived very close to that place. He was like, "Would you mind going guitar shopping for me?" He's like, "I need just like a really cheap, awful acoustic. Get me the worst one you can." And I was like, "Sure." So I went down. I think his budget was maybe £200, not even, probably less than that. I think he just wanted a practice guitar. Anyway, so I go down to the store, and my friend Anna worked there at the time, and she asked me what I was after, and I said, I need a cheap acoustic guitar for my friend. Find me the worst one you got. She's like, okay. And she went into the back and looked around, and she came out and she said, there's this ugly-looking Tobacco Brown kind of guitar.
Oh,
yeah.
there
I don't know
you
if you want to look at it. She's like, it's got cracks in it.
Yeah.
And I just remember that. I don't know what it was about that, but the way those words came out, and it just kind of hit me, and I was just like, Tobacco Brown. I was like, huh. And it stuck with me, and then I went back to my friend, and he's like, what did you find? And I was like, there's apparently this ugly Tobacco Brown guitar, but she said it was probably so shit, you didn't even want to buy it. And my friend repeated it, and he was like, Tobacco Brown. And we both kind of, I don't know, it was just something like we just never heard that combination of words before.
Yeah.
And we both agreed that was kind of cool. So, I don't know, it just stuck.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where we are now. So,
I know. I like the name a lot. First thing I thought was,
thank you.
what a cool name for a band, right? And then you describe it now it's even cooler because it's a guitar, right? Basically.
Yeah.
A description of a guitar, right?
Big time, and that's a real color and a beautiful color as well.
Wow, it is. No, it is. It's a very cool.
Myself.
Yeah.
It's not, my name is Kevin.
Yeah.
So it's like I try to make it clear as much as possible. It's like it's not.
Well, it's just it's like
I don't mind people call me Tobacco, but it's like that's
no. That's like people calling Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson calling him Jethro Tull.
Yeah. Don't get me started on Leonard Skinner.
Yeah. Or Led Zeppelin. Who's Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
No, it's a band.
Exactly. No, and I don't know. There's something I like the anonymity, if you will. Like there's something nice about that too. I think if only because I mean, it's not that I don't want to put my name on the product, if you will. I think it's different when it becomes the Kevan Schell band. Like I don't know. There's something about that. Maybe I'll get to that someday.
Yeah.
For right now, I don't know.
It's hard. I agree with you because it's hard being a musician or an artist and having to call yourself a certain name. I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
mean, I don't know how I went just talk about Jimi Hendrix. Like it got to been tough for Jimmy for a while. Because when you think about it, yes, he was phenomenal, but no wonder he was shy when he was in interviews because his name had to be present front and center, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been tough. I'll tell you a quick story about Jimi Hendrix too. I talked to, I don't know if you know Al Harlow. He's from Prism, right? The bass player from Prism.
Okay.
So Al went once to check out Jimi Hendrix at the Coliseum, and he went to the show. And what happened is he dropped a hit of acid. And he got and he got really ripped. And the Coliseum was like pretty brand new back then. I think like maybe four shows were ever in there at that time. That was the first of 4. And anyways, he got lost, and he was down on the bottom floor. And he got lost, and he went to a door, and he knocked on the door. And you know who opened the door? Jimi Hendrix opened the door.
No way.
Yeah, he opened the door, and his mom. So, because Al was really stoned, he says, I was really stoned. He said, but I knew who it was, and I said, so what did you say, Al? And he goes, his mouth fell open. He goes, I couldn't say anything because I was frozen. And Jimmy looked at me, and he says, what do you want? And I couldn't answer him. And I says, what did you do? He looked at me and he said, oh, go fuck off. And he slammed the door in his face.
Wow.
And I says, he goes, I walked away and nobody would believe that happened, but it did happen. I says, wow. I says, that's funny. I says, you couldn't even talk to him. I says, no, I was frozen, couldn't say anything. He got really mad because he said he had a cold. I heard he had a cold and he wasn't feeling good that night.
That's okay. I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
That's literally pretty much the same as when I first met. Well, the only time I met Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was probably like, oh god, maybe 11 years old, maybe younger. Actually, I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, I have it downstairs. It was at a Spike and Mike Festival of Animation. Anyway, Weird Al was signing autographs, and I didn't have like anything of his to sign. All I had was the like Spike and Mike, like the pamphlet.
Yeah.
And I waited in line, and when it was my turn, and I was in front of Weird Al, and I gave him, the thing to sign, he looked at me and he was like, and like I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't speak. Like when I was supposed to say like, hi, Mr. Yankovic, or like, my name is Kevin. Could you put to Kevin? I couldn't say anything.
Right.
And he was just like, do you want me to sign it? And I just nodded. I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, and he just signed it and gave it to me, and I walked away. I still have it, but I think to this day, I think he thought I was gonna like resell it.
Yeah.
Something like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, what's this kid's problem? Like, but I was literally same thing. I was gobsmacked. Like Weird Al was
Oh,
my
that's
idol
funny. That's
growing up
funny.
as well.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And
That's
I don't get me wrong, when I found out, they weren't all his songs, it's okay. I got over it.
yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I still think he's a genius. And
Oh
I
yeah,
still,
so
I
do
still have a lot
I.
of time for Weird Al.
He's rather funny. He sure is definitely funny. Oh my God.
Oh, for sure.
So
That's hilarious, though. I can't believe meeting Jimi Hendrix. Oh, my God, yeah.
yeah, I mean, Al told me that he just was just like, he says, man, I don't know why I got that stoned, right? I says, well, it was the '60s, right?
Yeah. Well, and if he'd had more acid, he could have at least given some to Jimmy, and he would have been like, "Oh, come on in."
Yeah, he would have been more happier.
Yeah, probably.
Took care of
I
that.
know a friend of mine got into a show using a pizza box.
Oh wow!
It had like maybe a slice in it, and he was just like, "Pizza for the band."
Wow, that's a smart move.
Yeah. That's you, Nick Berry.
So tell me, you got, where can you get your album now? That your four songs.
So we're doing a very exclusive. Come to our shows, and we'll sell it to you there. Or
Okay.
You're very welcome to email me, and I'm happy to ship it. Or if it lines up, I can just drop it at your place, depending on where you live.
Right.
But basically, the email is tobacco.brown@gmail.com. And or just find us on Instagram @tobaccobrown. That's basically it, really. There's no
Very cool.
nothing set up too extreme. I have limited copies left, but there's still some.
Right
And
on.
obviously, you can find us on Spotify. And but for right now, there's you can only get all of those songs on vinyl. 3 of them are on Spotify.
Right on.
Song
Very cool.
called
Very
Judy
good.
is only on vinyl. So, yeah.
Right on. And how about just to go back a bit on the conversation? You said you were over in the UK, right?
I was, yes, yeah. I just got back.
So did you gig over there, or how did that?
I did. I found myself in a very unique situation where I was staying with my brother and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
In Croydon, because my brother still lives in Croydon. I moved back to Vancouver in 2010.
Right.
But I was living there from 2001 to 2008, something like that. So anyway, so I was staying with my brother, and he happens to live right across the street from a pub called the Oval Tavern.
Oh, right on.
Which, shout out to the Oval. And they have an open mic every Tuesday, which is hosted by a lovely man named Dave. And it's the Songbird open mic. And I basically went there every Tuesday and made sure that I got my my 3 songs or whatever, and I tried out some new stuff when I had it, and just tried to stay sharp, because I was there for a couple of months, right? And I'm used to gigging with the guys almost every week when we are playing.
Yeah.
So and then the other place I played actually was a place called the Kronks Bar.
Right.
In Croydon as well, which definitely look up the Kronks. That's the nickname for Croydon, is the Kronks, which is, it's pretty great. And the Kronks is a brewery, and their beer is fantastic. I spent some great nights there with my buddy Chris. And all in all, it was a hell of an experience. But I mean, I will just say, if you think the Vancouver music scene is difficult to crack, oh my God, I had a heck of a time with the London music.
I bet
it was not easy. I thought, egotistically, I'd just roll up and be like, yeah, I'm here, let's get some gigs. And it's the same deal. You got to know people, and you got to pay your dues. And
I don't know if you know Larry Davis. He used to live on the Drive. He's a great guitar player, violin player, and used to be in the Hard Rock Miners.
Oh wow!
And he's from London, and he's gone back there. And I talked to him. I interview him a couple of times every 2 years. Actually, I got to interview him in the next while. But yeah, he's lived there a long time, and he says the same thing as you. It's just as like Vancouver. It's hard to get gigs right now. It's not easy. It's not easy. You really gotta hustle. Really gotta hustle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta hustle, and there's a hierarchy. There's an order.
Yeah, I bet.
And I get that, and I mean, I have to say, I won't say that I don't miss being in my 20s and playing music, but I will just say that it was really hard to get the good guys to play with me, if you will, some of the seasoned vets.
Oh yeah, in
They
early
weren't always interested in helping out a young dude. I mean, there's exceptions obviously along the way, but
yeah.
as an outsider in that world, I felt at times. Now, I was very lucky. Don't get me wrong. I met a great group of people at the Princeton. Actually, some really good dudes. Andrew Huggard and Double D and a bunch
Oh yeah,
of other
Double
amazing
D.
dudes,
He's
right?
yeah, I like
Those
Double
guys,
D. He's
those
great.
guys helped me out. Don't get me wrong. Like I was very fortunate. I recommend everybody goes to the Princeton open mic on Tuesday.
Oh, I tell
and
you know
just,
that Tuesday.
takes it in, right?
You know what? That's funny you say that. Last year I interviewed Sandy, and the drummer, right? We doubled.
Sandy Bone.
Yeah,
Sandy Bone in the Breakdown. Yeah, right on.
And I interviewed Sandy. He's such a nice guy, and Double D. And you know what?
Sandy's great.
I told Sandy, and this is true. That jam is a really fun, entertaining jam because you get some you get some really cool jazzy blues musicians coming in. It's very rootsy, very rootsy jam. And I said, I really like it. I go down, like I've gone down there and just sat there and my bass player and me, Harvey, go down and have a couple of drinks on a Tuesday night if we're not busy and have a bite to eat, and just watch the people jam. And then I think about a couple months ago, I one night they hardly had anybody in there, and coming up at the end, and I had a few too many probably, and I grabbed my harmonica.
Not you, Joey.
I grabbed my harmonica, and my Harvey went to the washroom, and I scooted up, and I says, Sandy didn't know I played, and so I went up, and Double D looked at me. He goes, "About time you got up on stage." So I came up and I did a couple songs, and Sandy walks up to me after. He goes, "What the fuck? How come you haven't done this before, right, with me?" And I told him, I says, I told you when I interviewed you. I says, I really enjoy coming down to your place and just watch other people play. I says, I don't have to go up and jam. I says, I says, I like to jam and have a good time. But I says, I like the idea of coming down there and watch other people. That way I get entertained. I says, it's fun, right?
Oh, and if you're a gigging musician, there's literally no better thing than going to a place and just chilling out, having a meal and some drinks or whatever. And just watching someone else do their thing. And
you know who's
I hate to say it, it's a little you get like you don't have to worry about cables and speakers and shit or whatever.
Exactly,
right?
And
there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But
you know who's really good there too? You mean because you've been down there? Is Sinead? Have you heard her play and sing?
Oh, Sinead. Yeah.
Isn't she amazing? She is.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Yeah, Sinead and I have been kind of going to the Princeton pretty much the same amount of time.
Yeah.
She's a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
I literally, maybe I got to the Princeton a couple months before her, maybe not. But she's fantastic. Yeah. No, I've watching her rise this whole time, and her and Double D are fantastic. I can't say enough great things about. What
I watched her like a couple times. And I just walked up to her one day, and she knew she knew my band because she'd seen us at the Princeton, and she goes, Joey, how's it going? I go, it's going great. I says, wow, you blow me away. And she goes, what do you mean? I says, Sinead, you know that you're really original sounding, like nobody sounds like you. I says, that's a gift. Yeah. That's a gift. I told her that, and she was really blown away by that. But I meant it though, because like you, you find these little treasures. You guys are like the little treasures, and
oh, thanks, man.
When you find that kind of stuff, it makes you. Well, for me, it definitely inspires me. Because then I go like, I get a bang out of that, right? Because there's some good music around it. I feel good.
I am so blown away with the Vancouver music scene. Honestly, it's come and gone, if you will, and it's gone up and down, and it's transformed. But the talent in Vancouver, you cannot deny, there are some of the most talented people on the planet in the city, and I will go to bat for every single one of them, and I always try to back anyone who's an artist who's doing their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a huge thing for me. I will always try to promote the shit out of anybody who's just doing their thing. And I just think
that's so cool.
That's just how it should be, right?
Yeah,
and especially local talent. But, it's I don't know. I think it takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage to
Oh,
get
it
up there
does.
and do your thing, and you know what I mean. It's you deserve all the accolades if you do that. So
Yeah.
I just try to meet people in the middle, and you know, again, I say this all the time to people because I've been asked before, like a lot of musicians where people are like, well, how can I support you? Like, what can I do? And it's like, you know, it doesn't even have to be money, but it's like you can change someone's life with like a thumbs up, a like, you know what I mean, a share, like all that stuff. It's like it's not a big thing, right?
No,
but it means a
no,
lot,
no.
and it goes a long way.
It does, and it really enhances things, right? You know, it's like I interviewed a while back too, just a couple weeks ago. Tommy Stewart, he's the drummer from Trooper originally, right? And
oh, cool. Yeah.
And Tommy's been playing forever, and you know, and he just went to the Canadian Walk of Fame and all that stuff. They got introduction into all that. And, you know, and he says, you know, typical musician, right? I mean, he's like you and me. He, you know, typical funny guy, but really nice person. And Tommy says, Joe, I didn't think I deserved it, you know.
Wow.
And I kind of went like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Like you're like, you guys are like the icon. You're part of that iconic thing in Vancouver, and that started it all. And I said, why don't you? And he says, well, you know what's weird, Joe? I'm sitting there looking at my plaques on the wall or my picture, and he says, and next to me is Neil Young or Joni Mitchell, you know, and he goes, and he says, or Gordon Lightfoot, he says, holy shit, I'm right there with those guys. And I says, well, you deserve it. Like, you know, I mean, like you guys are really good. You created you were part of that Vancouver scene in the beginning. You started all this, so you of course you deserve to be recognized. You know, whether you like the music they do or not. You know, I like some stuff, not all of it, but to be honest, but I do appreciate good songwriting, the damn good songwriting. You know, it's whether you like the style of music or not.
Voices as well, right?
Unique talents.
People who bring something that is, you can't. It's unmistakable, right? You can't,
Yeah, and that's great. So you guys are still going to gigging, like you said too. You guys are going into the studio pretty soon in the next while.
Yeah.
That'll be good. And so, when do you think you'll have something out? Maybe by summer, maybe. I'm not trying to pressure you.
No, I mean, honestly, like I would love that. I'm not going to lie to you, but you know,
it's fluid, isn't it?
Okay,
you guys
so
are kind of
my thing. I've rushed things before.
Yeah, it's not good
and
to
I've
rush.
tried to get stuff out there, and it's been really important to me to release music.
Yeah.
And have a thing, and then I just found myself not super always happy.
Yeah.
With what I'd done, so I'm just at a point now where I'm embracing the vibe of my band a little more because, I mean, like, let's be honest, the combined age of my band, like, we're about, like, probably 800, 900 years old. So, you know, there's a vibe of let's just chill and take it slow and just see what happens. But also, we're going to do a good job.
Well, that's the you know what? That's the magic of Tobacco Brown. I'll tell you that. that's your No, I'm serious. I watch you play, and then you got Steven sitting in the chair, and he's grooving. You know, the other night there, you know, Rick's grooving. Rick's
like
grooving.
You can't rush those guys.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Like, it's like herding cats. So,
yeah, you don't want to do that.
I've given up on the you know, on the chop and let's get this done. I'm just, honestly, it's an honor to play with these guys, and I know we're gonna hash it out over, you know, a couple of weeks or whatever it ends up being, and we're gonna just make the greatest fucking album ever. No,
you will.
Really
you guys
good.
will do well.
Really good.
You're gonna do really well.
Again, like, these guys they're just pros, right?
Yeah.
Well,
you're a pro. You're a pro too. You're in there with them. Don't think.
Thank you, man. Yeah, like you're saying, I'm having that moment where I'm like, holy fuck, I get to hang out with these guys.
Yeah, no, that's great, Kevin. That's great.
It's a big deal. And,
it is. Well, you know, I'm going to let you go, and that was a great conversation. We're going to do it again, and I you know, I'm looking forward to see you guys again. You know.
Yes. Wait. So you play harmonica?
I do play blues harp too, and I sing. Yeah. I song. Well, I songwrite with.
What are you doing this Friday?
Friday night. I don't know what I got. I don't know.
I'm playing Stamps Landing. You should come bring your harps.
Okay. Where's that at now?
It's Stamps Landing. That's it's out at False Creek. It's Mahoney's Tavern.
Oh,
I'll send
okay,
you the
Mahoney's.
details.
Okay,
You should
I'll
come.
try.
Yeah.
I'll try, and if I don't, I'll call you.
all right,
I'm
no
gigging. No, but I'm gigging on Saturday.
Okay.
We're gigging at the Admiral from 3 to 6.
Oh, no way. That's right by my place. What? On Saturday?
Yeah, you should come by.
No fucking way. I'll be there. I'll bring 2 guitars. No, just kidding. Okay, that sounds amazing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna eat a
Well,
steak
you can
and
get
watch you
Paul.
play.
You'll get to watch Paul play, and then you get to watch.
Nice.
And talk about guitar player.
What
you know,
time are you on?
we're on from 3 to 6. We're doing a matinee one there.
You doing a matinee?
Yeah. You're doing the matinee.
Hey, that's sealed the deal, my man. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Come out and check
This
us
is gonna
out.
be great.
It'll be the blues rock thing, and we're kind of. I have two band. We have 2 bands, same people. We have the rock band. The heavy rock band is more
No
like
way.
like Led Zeppelin-ish kind of heavy blues rock, or
This is the
Stone.
greatest evening of my life. to find
Then
this stuff.
we have like the band you'll see is more like Black Crows, so it's more like
Oh, okay.
it's kind of bluesy, more bluesy oriented, right? But they're both the same band, the same players, and the reason people ask me why I do that, so is like I just like writing songs, so I don't want to get pigeonholed into one style of music, so
Right.
so I that's why I've got 2 different bands with 2 different genres, but all the same people though. It's all the same people. I keep the band. Luckily,
That's
I'm
great.
able
Yeah,
to keep
there you go.
the same group of people. Yeah, I think you would enjoy. You're gonna enjoy Paul and Patty. They're really 2 good guitar
I
players.
can't wait. No, I'm really stoked,
'Cause
man.
Patty-
literally, yeah, that's up the street from me, man.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm coming.
Patty M. By the way, she plays here, and then like she'll go for 3 months to 2 months. She goes and lives down in Phoenix, Arizona, and she goes
okay.
and plays down there. So she plays with all the big blues cats down there. She's really good player too. So
Right on.
so I got 2 good guitar players. And I got a female keyboard player, and I got a female background. Well, no, she's not background. She could sing probably or sing loops around me too. She's really good. And I
on.
just got a brand new singer. She sings with me too, right? She does songs. We do duets back and forth, or she sings and I back her up, or she
Yeah.
does it vice versa. So we get the vocals happening too. So it's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Nice, man.
I'll try to make it Friday, and if I got to look at my calendar,
Well,
but I
no sweat if you can't, but I'm gonna keep in touch with you though, and I want to get you out with your harps for sure, man.
Let's have
I
some
know
fun.
I know we got plenty of songs you could totally jam on. So
Okay, bud. Nice talking to you, Kevin, and I'll see you maybe
You too,
Saturday
Joey.
or Friday. Love it. Thank
okay,
you.
sounds good. Talk to you soon, man.
Bye now. Cheers.
Bye.
Wow, that was Kevan Schell, and Kevin is great. You got to catch Tobacco Brown. Yeah, he's got some really hot players with him in this band, and the band is really good. The songs are really good. If you get a chance to check out Tobacco Brown, make sure you do it. This is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Other Doing Podcast for 2024. Peace out.